Now, we're continuing our pre-election profiles with a couple of fresh new faces. The Internet Party's candidate for East Coast, Patrick Salmon, and Labour's candidate in Tamaki Makaurau, Peeni Henare. Tēnā kōrua. Thank you both for coming in this morning. Let's start with you, Patrick. Cultural heritage, this is something you said once. Cultural heritage doesn't matter when it comes to the internet. What did you mean by that?
What I meant by that was that the internet has no boundaries or limitations. It's not limited to religion, it's not limited to one specific belief, and it's open. So, yeah.
And you're standing in a general seat. You're up against Dan Tolley. What's your feeling about that?
Very excited. Very excited about being up against contesting the seat with Ann Tolley. Yeah, that's all I can say.
I mean, it's going to be a tough one, isn't it? But, Peeni, you're standing in Tamaki Makaurau. I mean, you've also got a battle on your hands, haven't you? Rangi McLean, I mean, how are you feeling about your prospects there?
A tuatahi ka mihi atua hau ki tōku pāpā. Tērā i ka āwhiro o ngā take Maori kei roto i te rohe o Tamaki Makaurau. So I want to acknowledge Rangi and also Marama, my tuahine Marama. I'm under no illusions that it's going to be a hard battle. But those battles are won obviously on the streets and in the hearts and minds of our whānau here in Tamaki Makaurau. So it is an uphill climb, in particular for the Labour Party. But we're committed to Tamaki Makaurau and ensuring that we put our best step forward for Tamaki. And
perhaps even a harder battle for you, given you've only been given 16 weeks to campaign. I mean, it's really not long enough, is it? Well,
I think the work that you do in Tamaki Makaurau is a form of campaign, and I've been here for some time now, since I was a young fella, and a lot of the people know me. While I acknowledge that, you know, there were some issues with the selection process, I also acknowledge too that our people get hoha with politics. So 6 months sometimes is often too long. So I'm under no illusion, of course, that the time is short, so it's a matter of just hitting the ground running.
This morning we saw, you know, Colin Craig, a whole page in the newspaper basically saying, look, there's a whole lot of crazy thinking going on here. Here we go, there it is there, and basically calling for the abolition of Maori seats. What do you think of that, Patrick? Do you think that Maori seats are needed?
Absolutely. I think they're absolutely necessary. They're needed. It also shows that New Zealand itself, with the Crown, is honouring the Treaty of Waitangi by allowing us to participate within government itself. So
And why aren't you standing in a Māori seat?
It doesn't really matter what seat I'm standing in, whether it be Māori or general. Our whānau out there are all about opportunity, and if they're wanting to not go with Māori on the Māori role itself and they'd prefer to go general, I'd be their option.
OK. Internet Mana is paying you to stand, aren't they?
Aye.
How much?
I suppose it's not how much, but you can, you know, I'd ask, who do you know that could afford to take 10 weeks off work when you've got a wife, when you've got 3 tamariki, when you've got a whānau to support? It's a barrier, a challenge there. And I actually, myself today, would say that other parties should learn from this and actually follow what we're doing, because it allows opportunity for a bigger pool of people to be able to participate and stand and represent their people without money being a barrier or a challenge for them.
OK, I want to ask you about that in just a moment. Peeni, let's not talk about specific numbers though, but let's just talk about, I mean, is it the payment? I mean, is it a salary, is it a wage, is it equivalent to being an MP already?
It allows us to pay our bills, definitely, and put kai on the table still. I don't even know how much MPs get these days anyway. No,
for you to stand in this seat, I mean, would it be... I mean, I think MPs are on over 100 grand anyway.
It's only a short period of time, so it's nowhere near that. But, hey.
All right. Do you think, Peeni, that other parties should, as Patrick says, take an example from internet mana and be paying their candidates to stand?
I think in an ideal world, of course, it'd be great to have the opportunity to be paid to do this kind of mahi. But I think, as Patrick, I'm sure, would agree and understand, it's not about the money.
Aye.
It's not about the money going into kaupapa such as politics.
But does it make it harder for some people to stand?
Oh, it certainly does. No, there's no doubt about that. And I'm very fortunate, and I'm sure Patrick is too, to have whānau. We have a lot of whānau and friends and family, of course, that help us with our needs during this time of campaigning. It is tough, but that's the life of politics.
So your whānau is helping you fund this campaign?
Correct.
And you've had to take your time out of work. If this doesn't come off you'll be able to go back to your job?
Some people would argue that once you've pitched your tent, that's it.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's the beauty about whānau. Once it's all done, you still go back to whānau and you're still part of that family. And life carries on regardless of whether or not you get in.
Well, that's it. I mean, and just lastly, I mean, you come from quite a legacy, don't you? Your great-grandfather, your grandfather, both politicians, and you're related to young Tau Henare.
He's not
really
so young anymore.
Younger. A really strong national legacy, but you're standing for Labour.
Yes, well, what's not mentioned in a lot of my whakapapa is my father was approached by the Labour Party under the Clark administration. So it's nothing new. Politics is politics, whether you're blue, red, it doesn't really matter too much. But I do acknowledge that whakapapa and the legacy that they've left me. And just quickly on the Maori seats issue, you know, it was my great-grandfather in that Taitokerau Maori seat for a number of years. And I agree, I don't agree at all with what Colin Craig is talking about, and they're using race as a political football. And I think
there's a lot of people that will take issue with that, and then sadly there's a lot that will agree with it. However, I thank you both for coming in this morning. Tēnā kōrua, Patrick and Peeni.